Welcome back here today on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College, another in our series of what's going on in the community. Here today with us is Terry Johnson from the Marianna City Farmers Market. When we come back, we're going to talk to Terry about just that. Eat fresh, buy local, support your local farmers. Farmers markets are sprouting up all across the country more and more. We have concerns about GMOs or genetically modified foods. We've got problems with pesticides. We've got all kinds of allergens naturally, but then when you add in all of this man-made stuff, kids are having problems, adults are having problems. At the end of the day, if you frequent your farmer's market, you get the freshest possible produce, you get the healthiest possible foods, and when we come back, we're going to let Terry talk about all this and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Terry Johnson from the Marianna City Farmers Market. Thanks for taking the drive over here from Marianna this morning.
Well, thank you, Paul. I'm glad to be here and represent the market, and we're opening April the 7th, and we'd appreciate all the people to come out and just come visit with us. We're going to kind of have a meet the grower and just have some things for the people to do. We've had a kind of a cold March, as everyone knows. We had a kind of warm February, and that kind of got things mixed up with our growing season. And because of that, we may have less produce than we would have liked. However, we do want to show our appreciation to our customers. We want you to come out and meet us, and we'll be able to explain what produce we'll have available, when it will be coming in, hopefully. And in addition, we want to, serve you some cake, coffee, just come and greet and meet the farmer that's going to be providing you the produce. And we may have some pretty nice door prizes as well. So.
Wow. Well, grab a rope and hang on. I haven't even asked the first question yet, and we've already got all that. Let's start at the very beginning, Terry. For those who are uninitiated, what is the Marianna City Farmers Market?
The Marianna City Farmers Market is a location, okay? It's at Madison Street Park in Marianna. It's close to the courthouse there in the center of town. And it is just a venue in which the Jackson County Growers Association, and we go by Marianna City Farmers Market, it's just a venue there to provide locally grown Florida fresh produce to our customers within a 50-mile radius of Jackson County. And it's very comfortable there. We have a nice pavilion. It's covered. Air flows through it pretty well, so it's comfortable and it's sheltered. And even when it storms, our produce stays dry.
Yeah, and everybody, I think, should know where Madison Street Park is. You got the two splash pads there now.
Correct.
You've got a stage under that pavilion. A lot of the concerts in the course of the summer are held there.
Exactly.
By the Chamber of Commerce and the Tourist Development Council in Jackson County. Also, National Night Out is held there. There's lots of activities. You guys have got a great venue. If you're coming from the east, you see that big sign that says Marianna. I guess it's in flowers or stones or something.
It's shrubbery.
Shrubbery.
Yeah.
And so as you're coming up that hill, you can see that entire venue. When you're coming from the west, it kind of sneaks up on you. When you start seeing the courthouse, you need to start looking to the left.
Right, right.
So the Madison Street Park, now, how did the Marianna City Farmers Market get started? What was the kernel, what was the seed that got that group started?
That was back before I was participating in it for sure.
Okay.
I think it's about 45 years ago now.
Wow.
It's been there. The Growers Association has been a part of Jackson County for 45 years. I'm not sure just the history on that.
Okay.
You can go to our website, and I think we have that information out there, the history of the market. But it was started just as a group of local farmers wanting to have a place where they could come and meet and the customer base nowhere to meet them at. I think we first began at the old side of the, what were they called? Quick Check was the old store that was there, and it was taken down, and then there was a parking lot area there, and it was established so that the growers could meet there and on Saturdays and provide their produce at a general location. And from there it grew to where I think they finally got a sheltered area there, and then later on, and I guess it's been within the last 7 years, they got grant monies to build a nice farmers market there at Madison Street Park. So through some grant monies, we're able to get that established, and it's now, like you say, coming from, if you're going west, coming from the east, it's right up there on the hill, right past the Winn-Dixie, and you're looking up the hill, and there it is. And a lot of people will look across there and say, I wonder what's going on there today, when they see the cars and all around. And a lot of times you don't realize that, hey, it's the farmer's market. And so we're trying to get ourselves promoted out there to the point where the people, when they see all those cars there on Saturday, it's the farmer's market.
People don't realize what a large contributor to the economy the agricultural industry in Jackson County is. Jackson County, one of the more prolific agriculturally based counties, certainly in the northern part of Florida. Just go a county or two in either direction and you get away from that agriculture to such an intense degree. But I think that, if I'm not mistaken, Jackson County is still the #1 peanut growing county in the country.
It sure is, and I was just about to bring that point out, because historically Jackson County is an agricultural county. I mean, it was the one of the, in fact, one of the governors, or two of our governors, came from Jackson County. But the peanut was one of the mainstay of our agriculture in Jackson County, and it is, or from what I understand, still is. Jackson County is the #1 peanut producer in the state of Florida, and probably rivals the other states as well.
Yeah, actually, it's. I can say with assurance, it is the #1 peanut producing county in the United States. I looked that up just recently. I
thought that was the fact, but I was not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, you've got a lot of cotton, you've got a lot of corn, you've got a lot of other crops. Obviously, those are not the kind of crops that lend themselves to the farmer's market. But let's jump ahead a little bit. Here we are in the 21st century. We are producing more food than ever with fewer farms than ever, and it's because of chemicals to a great extent.
Correct. And we have several of our growers, and most of our growers understand are small farms. And I'm talking about some of them less than 10 acres. Several of them are less than probably an acre. Myself, I retired 6 years ago from corrections, Florida Department of Corrections, and I just love to get out there and play in the dirt, is what I call it. And a lot of my farming that I do is hands-on, one-man operation. So I produce for my family, and what I have left over, I take to the market. So we have several that participate in that same manner. So, you know, you're not going to sell someone a product that you wouldn't eat yourself.
Sure.
And that's the type of mentality that most of our farmers have, is that, hey, I'm growing it for myself, and what I have left over, you know, in abundance, I'm going to take to the market and share with those in the community to have good Florida fresh grown produce.
What we're experiencing on a worldwide basis, and certainly on a national basis, is that we're producing more food than ever for more people than ever with fewer farms than ever. And we're doing that through chemicals. We're doing it through science. We're doing it through technology. People are more and more interested in what the effects of genetically modified foods are on our body. We're seeing children that having allergies that we've never even seen before. We're seeing more and more health issues caused by that genetically modified stuff, and also from pesticides, insecticides, etc., fertilizers. One thing that you guys pride yourself on as the Marianna City Farmers Market is that, number one, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to produce everything that you sell at the market yourself on your own piece of dirt. Is that correct?
You have to, well, it has to be your farm, okay? So, I mean, you could rent land from someone else, but you're still, the farmer that sells his produce grows his produce. And basically, we do not allow our vendors to go south or north or, wherever and truck in produce to be sold at our market. Now, in the fall market that we have, we're starting up because of the type of seasonal produce that you may have. We do allow, if you want to sell citrus, oranges, grapefruit, that type, we allow that for our fall market. But we're just starting our fall market. Last year was our first year that we've had a sanctioned fall market. And so we're learning our local growers of what will grow well and that we can produce to give to our customer base in Jackson County during the winter. Mostly it's been greens and carrots, snow peas, those type vegetables, but there are others out there, and we're trying to, learn how to grow those because in the past we really didn't, see a purpose in growing them other than for ourselves. But there's a lot of people that they enjoy those type of vegetables as well. But as you said, we do strive to use as few pesticides or herbicides as possible. Several of our growers, I think, are organic farmers. So I know I try to not use pesticides at all. As you know, we've had problems with decreasing our bee population, and they're still researching, trying to figure out exactly what's causing that. But one of the things we know for sure that it is probably some type of pesticide related, whether it's genetic or what. But anyhow, we don't want to decrease our bee population because when we do, we're all in trouble.
We did an interview with one of your former members, the late Jim Pruitt, and we discussed that, I think it was several years ago, on this show. We talked about the issue with bees. We talked about the fact that in China, we have women climbing 16, 20-foot ladders to hand pollinate fruit trees. He was a honey producer, was quite cognizant of that issue. What we're looking at, not so much is not insisting that we're not going to use pesticides or any of that stuff. The problem arises when we depend on that, when we depend on fertilizer to produce lush vegetables which have no taste because they're grown too fast or because there's too much of whatever chemical being pumped into it. In the case of a farmer's market, you're going to get something that's typically locally produced, something that is lovingly produced, which is another thing we're going to talk a little bit about as far as your membership is concerned. And also we're going to get something that typically is going to be a little more healthy for your family.
Exactly.
When you talk about your membership, how many roughly do you have, how many farmers or farms typically right now are members of your organization?
I believe the last that I saw, we were running around 35 members. Maybe 40, and some of those may be mom and pop operations. So I'd say roughly 25, 30 farms maybe.
Are there room for more members?
Exactly. We have, in the past, I think we've been up to probably 60 or 65, and we would like to see that develop again. It seems as though that a lot of our mom and pop farms, they've retired or no longer with us. And that's unfortunate because we have been reaching out to our 4-H clubs, FFA clubs. We provide a stall for them to sell and
Wow.
at no charge to them as on our stalls, and as a means of trying to get the younger generation involved in farming vegetables that can be sold at the market. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to reach out to the younger generation and through the 4-H and the FFA, and just in the families that do have farms to, hey, get your kids involved, and we'll help them out as well as we can, so that as they grow, they'll get an interest in it, and they'll continue to be those that will be providing us locally grown produce right here in Jackson County.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that your history and some of this other information was available on your website. Your website is mariannacityfarmersmarket.net. That's on your screen right now. You can go there. You can see a lot of information. There's some videos there. There's a lot of photos there, lists of your sponsors. We're going to talk a little bit about the sponsorship opportunities in a minute. When you are a member, what hoops do you have to jump through to become a member? What's the process? If I've got a small farm of whatever size and I want to be a member, and then obviously I can then choose once I'm do you have members that don't sell, I would imagine? But the bigger question is here, if I want to become a member and sell my stuff at your market, what is the process I go through?
Well, the first step is find a $10 bill. That's all it
$10 a year?
$10 to be a membership fee.
$10 a year?
$10 a year.
Okay.
Okay. And then, of course, you got to have a produce to sell, and that means that we'll come out and inspect where you're growing your food, where you're growing your produce, and to ensure that you're the person that's growing it. And that's basically it. We want you to, of course, the produce that you bring to the market, we want it to be high standard produce. We don't want you bringing in something that's not fit to eat. Of course, as I said before, that's, if you're growing it and it's good for your own consumption, that's a good way to gauge what you want to bring to the market.
Yeah, so one thing.
Very simple process.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that you actually vet the members. You actually put them through that process where you inspect their farms or the area that they grow in. That was something I was unaware of. That's great. I would think that the person buying the food, the one that's uninitiated, sees the market going on, stops in there, says, hey, depending on what time of season it is, I'm going to buy some of this or this. They know going in that you have qualified that farmer. You've looked at where they're growing it, and they've got a pretty good idea that you have fairly high standards as to what they're going to be offering.
Correct. And as I said, you have to be within a 50-mile radius of our market, Jackson County. So we even have a couple of vendors that come in from Cottonwood because they're just across the border. Their
Sure.
farms abut Florida, and they're within that 50-mile radius. So we welcome them as well to come in and sell. And we go in and inspect their farms as well to ensure that they're growing what they're selling in our market. And that's how simple it is. We don't charge a lot for our membership fee because we want to have it available for everyone that's wanting to produce.
Sure.
And but we do make sure that it is locally grown and that you're selling what you're producing. You're not going out to one of the big corporate farms and purchasing wholesale and then turn around and retail.
Sure. When I've been there in the past, I've noticed, and I don't know that this was a direct connection to the farmers market, but on occasion I've seen people selling starter plants and tree seedlings. I've never seen any meat or fish products. Is it strictly vegetable? And do you allow meat, and do you allow other things that are not consumable, such as starter plants and that sort of thing?
Myself, I got certified last year to sell plants, and we have 3 or 4 of our farmers, growers that are now selling plants. So that's allowed as well. You're talking about the meats. We do have a new membership farm that's coming on with us, Lazy Acres, and they're north of Cypress, and they will be providing meat products at the market this year. They are certified. They've gone through all the steps of certification to ensure that it's healthy, fresh meat being produced there. They have it packaged, and they'll take your orders, and then they'll provide you that service. And we're looking forward to the Ziegler family providing that for us this year. So
Yeah,
that'll
one-stop
be
shop.
something new for our market.
Yeah, one-stop shop. You go ahead and you pick up your salad, you pick up your potatoes, you pick up your chicken or your beef or whatever it is, the meat products that they're providing. You can literally get your whole meal there. What days does the farmers market operate in? What hours?
Okay, our hours, as I said before, we're opening the first Saturday in April this year. That's the 7th. And then we'll be open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays throughout the summer, spring and summer, until July 31st. And so our hours are from 7 to noon. And so if you want to get there early, come on and join us early and have some coffee and stay until we close around noon. Now, we have been known to stay there a little bit longer if we still had produce and we still have customers. So we're there to sell all our produce. We don't really care to take it home with us. And what we take back home, we have to eat or can or give away. And we don't mind doing that, but it helps to sell everything that you bring to the market. And I always, we leave with a happy smile when we do that.
The value of fresh vegetables is something that nobody can argue against, certainly. The fact that Jackson County is such a prolific agricultural producer, to me, it would make it a no-brainer that people would flock to Jackson County, to the Marianna City Farmers Market, and that you guys would just have more customers than you can deal with, and that you would run out early every time you open up the doors of the market. Obviously, that's not necessarily the case. Why do you suppose that you almost have to reset every year, or you have to re-educate people? I know you've got a core group of people that keep coming back, and I'm sure there's those faces that you see all the time, but you almost have to keep reminding people that you're there. I mean, that's endemic in the whole world. We got a short attention span. But talk a little bit about some of the methods you're using to try to educate people about farmers market, the quality that you produce and sell, and why they should go there. What are you doing to try to increase your audience, in other words?
Well, of course, we're trying to expand our promotion to make us make the community more aware of our presence. Okay, and then of course the value of the produce that we're providing them. Okay, the product that we're providing is healthy food, and as you said anymore, a lot of people come home in the evenings and they open up a can and they put it in the pot and they warm it up and they serve it, and either that or they're going out to eat, and I won't go there, but you never know how food is honestly prepared when you go out and eat. And I enjoy going out and eat, so it's no reflection on our local restaurants. But the thing is that if you have children and you're a young family, and I can remember myself as a child, that we always had fresh vegetables when they were available. And that's just some of the best memories that I can recall is being there with my family, and man, that cream corn, peas, tomatoes, and it just didn't get any better. And a lot of that has gone by the way, it seems, because of our fast-paced society that we live in today. But it only takes about 15 minutes to prepare fresh. You just have to kind of know how to do it. Our farmers that we have there are glad to discuss that with you and offer different ways that you can prepare different fruits and vegetables. I know a couple of years ago I introduced bok choy to the market. And unfortunately, it didn't go over well because people just didn't know what bok choy was. And I understand now that people are demanding bok choy. So, you know, it takes a while sometimes for a particular product to catch on, but once you realize that that's pretty good food, and I learned how to, you know, cook it properly, hey, it works. So we're there to help educate as well. We go through the Jackson County Extension Services. They provide us a lot of information that we can share with our customer base, and we appreciate their interest and of course support of the farmers market as well.
In meeting with some of your members, we had the discussion that the younger people don't necessarily buy a pumpkin to make a pie anymore. They buy a pumpkin at Halloween time to decorate, but they don't really know what to do with a pumpkin to be able to eat it. They don't know what to do with a squash. They don't know what to do with many of these vegetables, which granted do take some time. You have to peel and boil and rice and mince, and I mean there's all kinds, but we don't teach those things in school anymore. So it's heartening to hear that your farmers are actually doing some of that educational process. You mentioned the Extension Service, and obviously we've been working with you and that Extension Service. Do you get any help from the Florida Department of Agriculture? You know, right now, Adam Putnam, who is currently our Commissioner of Agriculture and Public Services, is running for governorship. It would seem like a perfect time to be able to get him and his department and that fresh from Florida that you see everywhere to help you out with your effort. Do you ever get any kind of input from them?
Well, we get the input from them. Basically, it's through the services for the senior citizens and then for the, I think, the SNAP program. And we, of course, all of our produce meet the guidelines for that as long as the farmer has been certified for that program. So they do help in that manner, but other than that, other than providing through the Extension Services the informational support, we haven't had much additional support that I'm aware of. We would certainly invite Mr. Putnam and anyone else to come in and share with us other ways. So that's always an open door there.
So does that fresh from Florida programming all go toward the huge business farmers, those mega farms?
It's there for everyone, including us, from the small to the large, and it is a
But you're not getting any of it. Is it because you're not asking for it, or do you even know? I mean,
I really don't even know, to be honest with you.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just contend that, number one, election time is always the best time to ask for something, especially if that guy is running for governor. But more importantly, I see Fresh from Florida, and you can't open a magazine without seeing Fresh from Florida. It's all over the orange juice boxes. And so, to my way of thinking, they would want to promote the fact that Jackson County, Florida farmers are selling fresh from Florida produce. It just doesn't make any sense to me that you're not getting some kind of a real big boost from that organization. Something maybe we can help you look into. I really think that that's maybe an untapped resource right now, maybe for you.
Well, it very certainly could be. And we would welcome any additional resources that we can obtain at this time of the year, of course, when our markets are coming in, to help promote us. That would be great. That's a great idea.
So what we're talking about is a soft opening. Now, you explained why. We've had some weather events. It's been a bizarre, and of course, Florida weather is by its very definition bizarre. You never know what to expect.
Well, Northwest Florida especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have 4 seasons.
Sometimes all in one day.
Sometimes all in one day, and not necessarily in the same order every year.
So you've got April 7th is when the first opportunity for the public to visit Madison Street Park and to meet and greet. And I think that, from what I understand, that's sort of the way that you're portraying that April 7th event. It's going to be a meet and greet with all of the farmers. There will be some foods for sale there.
And yes, and we'll have a for the kids, a bouncy house to be there. And so we're looking forward to the families coming out, the kids coming out and enjoying the park there. And like I said, we'll have some type of refreshments there to share, coffee, drinks, whatever. And we're just looking forward to meeting our customer base and explaining to them what we'll have available this year at the market and when to expect certain things to be coming in. All the produce, I know a lot of our customers come in and when are cucumbers coming in? When will you have the corn coming in? And honestly, it's really hard to explain just when this particular plant will be producing at a certain time, because there's only windows sometime available for maybe a week or 2 weeks, perhaps like with corn, where it's at its prime, and that's when you're going to go out and harvest your corn fresh. That makes the best roast near, or if you want to cream it, or if you want to cut the kernels off. So it's a very, very tricky business in trying to promise someone that, I'll have that next week, because it may be the following week. It all depends on the weather.
Yeah.
And
I think the short answer there is just keep coming, and every time there's going to be something new, something exciting, more importantly, somebody interesting to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. And we're looking forward to our customers coming in, and we will provide you as much information as when our vegetables will be coming on as we can. The thing is that the farmers plant at different times. Different ones plant at different times. So this particular farmer may not have squash coming in right now, but next week he will, and then the other farmer may have his produce will be coming in a week later than that. So as you said, come in, visit us weekly, and you're bound to leave with a lot of good products.
Yeah, and I would think that enough of your membership is computer savvy and social media savvy enough that they can simply keep going back to your Facebook page, and over time, your members are going to say, hey, I'm going to have cherry tomatoes this week, or I'm going to have corn, or I'm going to have watermelons, or I'm going to have whatever it is that is coming into season at that time. Another good way to do that, in the past, I know that you've had some entertainment on occasion. Are you looking at, on that April 7th event, possibly having some of that?
We've in the past, we've had the opportunity to have our dulcimer players. And I got educated on dulcimers this past year. I had no idea what a dulcimer was, but it's most of our dulcimer players, they are handcrafted instruments, and we have I think they call themselves the Chipley dulcimer players.
And they will be there?
And well, they have been in the past. I'm inviting them back again this year to participate. And they come in at their convenience, and we welcome them each Saturday that they wish to come in and be with us. Pamela Jennings, she plays the guitar and she sings, and she was there quite a few times last year and enjoyed her playing and entertainment. And so any of our previous musicians that want to come in and share their talents with us, we don't pay them anything. This is just their contribution to the community to come in and provide entertainment. And they love playing and producing music, and so we're open to anyone that's interested in providing their talents, and singing groups, church choirs, whomever. If you want to come in and represent your church and, bring your choir or bring your quartet, whatever you may have, and share it with us on Saturdays, we'll be glad to have them provide that venue to them for their exposure.
So you basically have an open mic opportunity for those who want to participate. So we're talking about April 7th, which is coming up very quickly here in April. On Tuesday the 10th will be the next official day, and from that point forward, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at Madison Street Park from 7 to noon. And it's going to be a soft opening on April 7th at 7 a.m. because you don't know right now what we're going to be able to experience in the way of availability of fruits and vegetables. But you will be there. You're going to be there in force. You're going to have a bouncy house. You're going to have refreshments and all kinds of stuff available. So even if you don't, heck, it's just a good opportunity, as we pointed out, to meet and greet your farmers.
Right. Now, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're there, but of course, it's not like our big market day on Saturday. It'll be just mainly for produce to be sold. And so on Saturdays, you can always check with your grower, your farmer, that we have different ones that like different ones, of course. This customer may prefer this vendor over another vendor, but basically, if you want to talk with your grower and find out, what he's going to have available. A lot of people come back on Tuesdays and Thursdays and pick up what they kind of want then. But of course, Saturdays is our big day, and that's when we try to have some entertainment in there and just have refreshments available. So we're looking forward to having a big kickoff on the 7th, greet and meet, and so we're looking forward to a great year this year. Hopefully the weather's going to continue to provide us plenty of rain. We've had a good spring for rain, and that's very important because in drought seasons, it really takes a lot more to go out there and produce vegetables than when the weather cooperates. So far, we've had good cooperation from the weather in that sense.
Makes sense. Thanks for coming over. Best of luck going forward. Hope that this is a great season for you. We're certainly going to be working with you to make that possible, and hopefully you're going to be able to increase that membership. Our guest today has been Terry Johnson, representing Marianna City Farmers Market. Their website on the screen right now, mariannacityfarmersmarket.net. They're also on Facebook by the same name, Marianna City Farmers Market. If you're a grower, if you're a farmer, if you want to get more information about how you can participate as a vendor, all that information is right there on their website. And obviously, shame on you if you don't take advantage of what we have here locally, fresh, healthy produce grown not just in Florida, but right here in the counties in which we live. We'll be right back.